Maria's Rum Factory. Time to make some noise. Maria's Rum Factory. Time to make some noise. Sniper on Overwatch. There's the officer in charge. Adios to shitty rum. Like therapy. Was for you, Talia.
Is that dog from Yara? Maria's going to have her panties in a knot now.
Thanks for joining us. Before we get into your interview with the committee, the transcript was released a few days ago. I want to get your reaction to what Sarah Murray just said. The committee telling the White House that they're worried that when Republicans take control of the House, White House personnel, these are career employees, not political appointees, presumably, witnesses whose identities were protected, could be revealed by House Republicans. Do you think that that's a legitimate fear?
It's a very legitimate fear. here, and it's astonishing, and it's something that any Republicans in Congress who, care about the credibility of oversight going forward need to oppose. This would be people like valets, Secret Service agents, people who work within the resident of the White House that may have provided details that were important to the investigation of the committee, and they were simply just, complying whether or with subpoenas. And as we've talked about many times, Jake, those of us who testified to the committee, we faced harassment, we faced threats, and it's opening these private citizens up to that, which they never signed up for.
You told the committee in your testimony this about former White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany. You wrote, quote, "I'm a Christian woman, so I will say this. Kayleigh is a liar and an opportunist. I wish her the best, but she's a smart woman. She's a Harvard law grad. This is not an idiot. She knew we lost the election, but she made a calculation that she wanted to have a certain life post-Trump that required staying in his good graces, and that was more important to her than telling the truth to the American public," unquote. Would you put a majority of your...
And apparently he had been...
All right, here we go. Mob James, welcome to Vlad TV. Pleasure to have you. Pleasure to have you. I've been listening to a lot of your other interviews, and I think you're a very important part of the whole death row story. From the very beginning. So I definitely appreciate you coming in. So let's start from the beginning. You grew up in Compton, and you were a member of the Mob Piru. Used to be. Tell me the history of Mob Piru in Compton, because you guys are generally considered Bloods, but kind of a specific set, right?
Yeah, well, actually, Pirus, we different from Bloods, but I mean, our neighborhood was just a lot of us hanging out, and before the violent part came in, just hanging out, fighting, and doing stuff like that. I got shot in 1980, and that's when we stepped the game up a little bit in 1980.
Time to make some
From
noise.
fighting to really getting involved.
Was there a split from Piru and the other?
No, it was always Piru. Compton. Just from LA. LA was more blood. All Piru.
How old were you when you were like that?
Really hanging out, like, really in it.
Better watch my step. I see you sleeping.
Really like cool players.
Were you one of the founders of
We just pretty much picked up where they were just older guys. They were hanging out. It wasn't no gunplay and all of that in the neighborhood. That we brought that to. We just started with the shooting, the fighting, doing other stuff.
when we talk about the 80s, that's when the crack era started. That's what I understand is the crack showed up. Yeah, once crack showed up.
There's a flamethrower.
We were locked up. No crack persons came out.
So when it actually hit was like 83. I came back home in 83. We went from being able to, it changed it because two things happened later. The influx of things, different timing. That's right. We were just playing by crack scene.
Feels good. Like
Oh,
that.
yeah, he was 38.
So you talking about getting shot. Get your gun shot 4 times. That happened early on.
Yeah. First time, guys come from the neighborhood. They get on their bikes. Shoot. Shoot in the chest. That was really good. Second time was with a shotgun. They come get me at the house. We had the Compton swap meet over there. And the Samoans was jumping on one of the little homies. So we get there. A 12-year-old Samoan come from side of the car and started shooting with the shotgun. Shot me up. I still had that. I was 1 and 2. We was at a party at the Samoans. The third time we went back to the 4-5. And someone came in the chair. Something broke and all that. Pushed it over. Hit him. So, to the bed.
How'd you getting shot?
Every time now, we didn't, I don't look at it. Retaliation. They shot at us. I went back and shot at them. Retaliation.
At one point, how long?
2 years.
Okay, that's it. Motherfucker.
Violation of my gang probation. I was on a high gang probation. And I had 2 weeks left. Probation. Yeah, so I told him,
Was you with Tubby?
That was last time you got locked up.
I was in the penitentiary. That time,
Did you do a jail time?
no, I went to jail for attempted murder in 92.
Now, you and Chuck knew each other.
Was that right?
He didn't hang out. We went to Linwood together, and we went to but we went to school together, and after high school, he disappeared.
But you went to college.
Yeah,
You played ball.
yeah.
You went to LB.
when I got out of prison in 1988, he just came to the house. And when he came, man, I've been kicking it ever since.
Okay. So during the time in high school, Suge wasn't gang affiliated at all?
No. He didn't know. Well, he knew people there in the neighborhood, but he didn't know, like, my brothers. He didn't know nobody that worked with Death Row. He didn't know none of them. He knew the people off on the block, but he didn't deal with no homies as far as saying, hey, I'm power rule, I'm no, never.
Yeah. Okay. So Suge comes back to Compton. I mean, I guess he went to play football, and I think he played football in college, and then I think he got an NFL contract, and that ended up not working out.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. And today we're reacting to some criticism I've received online. A lot of the supporters of Andrew Tate think I'm taking things out of context. But before we get to what we're going to talk about today, this episode is brought to you by what? What do you think? eForms.com, perhaps? Absolutely. Form, let's say you're going into...
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another Fireside Chat edition of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers. This is the holidays, so we're coming to you live from a very luxurious atmosphere and enjoying the holidays. Cheers. But before we get into Young Thug, which is what we're reacting to today, this episode, like all of our episodes, is brought to you by what? What'd you say? I said eForms.com. That's eForms.com. You know, when I like to do something, I don't like to reinvent the wheel. So that's why, if necessary, I go to eForms.com. I just did it the other day. I had to get a power of attorney for a client who was in prison and get him to sign it for his wife so she could act on his behalf. So these are really important legal things that you can do yourself and not cost you a whole lot of money. So go to eForms.com if you need any legal form, doesn't matter what state you're in, eForms.com, whether it's a power of attorney, bill of sale, eviction notice, anything, eForms.com has you covered. So here's the deal. We are today reacting to what to look forward to for Young Thug. What's going to happen with Young Thug? First of all, you're hearing that people are taking deals left and right. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that those people are actually taking deals because they're snitches. Okay? You've got hierarchy in this organization, and you've got people who are low-end players and people who are medium and people who are high. And before they get to trial, I think the state wants to just get rid of all the low-level players that they possibly can. It doesn't mean they're not taking a deal where they're snitching, because that could be as well. But you won't know that until the trial starts. And here's the other thing. Remember we reacted to the interview that Young Thug was doing with Wallow? Remember, Wallow was in prison for a long time, and he was kind of counseling him, you know, on a podcast. And we did that kind of a while ago. I'll show you a little bit of that here.
But some of y'all young niggas in here that still be living that shit, I don't be talking to y'all on Instagram as some square-ass, lame-ass nigga. I'm talking to y'all as a nigga that been in the prison yard, see little young boy come in with his tattoos on his face. Let me see your paperwork. When I'm going home, 2073. See. And now all the gangster shit gone.
That is real. That's 100%. You know, here's the thing. I love what I do. I love criminal defense. I wouldn't have it if people didn't get arrested, but I don't like people getting arrested. I like to present a message of build. And this is what this guy's trying to warn against.
So when I'm warning, I'm speaking from a place of trying to get niggas some real game. Because I'm going to tell you some shit. It's lonely than a motherfucker in there.
Nothing could be more true. It is lonelier than a motherfucker in there. What is that? That was so prophetic, in all honesty. And I want the young guys to look at Wallow and look at where Young Thug is now and think about the things you're doing. Think about what you're doing and how you're doing and how you're conducting your life. Are you building? Are you building a future, building your financial future, building your education, building your relationships? Or are you running the streets, being a fucking thug? And when I say a fucking thug, I'm talking about a guy who's sticking people up. I'm talking about guys who are in gangs. And if you're in a gang and you're leading a gang, why don't you lead them out of the gang? Lead them into some other activity that's not so risky. I mean, it's really risky to be doing the street gang stuff, whether it's drugs, whether it's violence, or whatever. So back to Young Thug. Young Thug is now looking at a very serious case. Very serious case. They're not offering him any deal. And that happens from time to time. And what happens when you do that? Well, you have no choice sometimes but just to take it to trial. Now, I remember he rented a car in 2016, and that's what led authorities when they started investigating the murder of Donovan Thomas. And then the more they started unraveling the onion, the more they saw how Young Thug was involved. Now, if you're the top of the top, generally you're not going to get a deal. And when you don't get a deal, and the state relies on snitches, that's a problem. That's a problem for them, for the state too, for the most part, because there's a motive to lie, right? And these guys are probably liars their whole life. If they're in gangs, you think they tell their employer that they're in gangs? You think they tell their mother that they're in gangs? You think they tell the landlord where they live that they're in a gang? You think they tell anybody where they get their money from? You go down that road, and that's how you discredit a snitch. However, guess what? Do they get any credit for giving information that is false, that's provably false? No, they don't. In fact, if they lie, guess what? Deal's off the table. We can't use you, we're not going to use you, and we're going to take this lie and shove it up your ass. So this case is going to be a very lengthy case. It'll probably be between 6 and 9 months. They're going to have 300 plus witnesses.
It went 9 months, so that's why I came up with 6 to 9 months. You told me to begin with 300 witnesses, but 6 to 9 months would be, or 6 to 12?
They had another case, very similar, not similar, but large case that took almost a few years ago, and so they're kind of likening that other case. So let's look at this. Young Thug's brother, Unfook, he got a deal where he had a 12-year sentence that was commuted down to 2 years with 10 months probation, time served. I'll be honest with you, I don't understand why they're giving some of these things away. If you remember, Gunna, he got time served, and one would think he was right up there with Thug, but I don't know that to be true or not true. But they're giving some of these things just away. So, like I said, Thug's trial is expected to last between 6 months to a year. Over 300 witnesses. They're expected to call several of the witnesses that have taken deals, including Thomas. Now, remember, when he took his deal, he went overboard to say, oh, I'm not a snitch, I'm not a snitch, I'm not a snitch, I'm not a snitch, I'm not a snitch. But he has no right to claim the fifth. You know why? Because he is no longer, say, he has legal jeopardy. So they can call him as a witness, and if he takes the fifth, they'll put him before a judge. And if the judge says you don't have that right anymore because you've already extinguished any criminal liability by accepting liability, guess what? He'll compel him to testify, and if he doesn't, he'll sit until he testifies. And that could be up to a year. And that therapy has a dramatic impact on somebody who has the keys to the jail. Because he does have the keys. So my guess is you're going to see Gunna testify. So the ones that we know that have taken a deal so far was Gunna, Silent Shadi, Unfook, Walter Murphy, and Lil Duke. Those are the 5 that I know of so far. So generally speaking, when you have a conspiracy case, which is what this is basically, you have co-conspirators. A co-conspirator's statement can be used if it's a statement in furtherance of the conspiracy. So they don't even have to be there for that statement to get into evidence if they have it. So you're going to have, I think there were 28 on the indictment originally. I think we know of at least 5 that have taken deals. Between now and January 5th is when they're supposed to go back to trial. We know that there are going to be a few more plea deals probably next week. And they're going to start dropping out of there like flies. And it's problematic when you have this many defendants and this many lawyers and this many witnesses, you know, you're going to have to try. You can't try them all together. There's no way you could try 23 people in the same courtroom. It would be very problematic. So you'd have to break it up. And that's why it's going to take 6 months to a year to try all these cases. So stay tuned. We're going to follow this. If you have questions about what, you know, the procedure or evidence or any other questions, put it in the comments section, because we do read those. You know, it's interesting to follow this, because this is what I do. I do that. I had a trial that lasted over 7 weeks with 5 defendants. You know, we all got along really well as a team, but they're difficult, and there's witness after witness after witness after witness, and the government has investigated this case for years. Stay tuned, follow us, and we'll follow the case. And make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Patreon. Make sure you get some merch if you're so into that kind of thing. And if you're doing this, take an Uber. If you are out there, enjoy yourself, be safe, be the rock for the ones you love, and build. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers is broke down your case. He know all the charges that you got to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-stitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you got to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-stitching gon' get you put away.
Maria's Rum Factory. Time to make some noise.
The fact.
Today, we're going to be talking about WAC 100. What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's KB and we locked in. Now let's jump in. Today, we're going to be talking about WAC 100 and the story behind it, how he became one of the most requested artist managers in the game, and the controversies that surround it. So without further ado, let's go. WAC 100, real name Cash Jones, is a celebrity manager and gang member who has ties to the street and the music industry. His roster of artists he manages includes Ray J, Blueface, 6ix9ine, and others. He is the vice president of Cash Money West, a division of Cash Money Records, and has been making power moves in the industry for a while now. He's had numerous high-profile beefs over the last couple of years and has found himself in several serious legal situations. WAC has also found himself being in several public extortion attempts against some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry. WAC has went from a nobody to a somebody and has successfully strong-armed his way into the headlines dozens of times, and today we're going to be taking a look at what happened throughout his life and his career to get him to the point where he's the face of an almost $100 million record label, while also being one of the most prolific gang members in the state of California. WAC 100 was in the streets starting at an early age. Growing up in Pacoima, California, he found himself being surrounded by the local Piru Blood gang members, and they had a heavy influence over his life. It was this affiliation that led to WAC becoming a hardened criminal at just the age of 16. After he was sentenced to serve time at the Soledad Correctional Facility, which is an adult facility. WAC has even claimed that he was the first minor to ever be sentenced to an adult prison in the state of California. A claim that is 100% not accurate, but anyways.
I've been to the penitentiary. I was the first minor in the state of California. They sent me to prison at 16 years old. I was in Soledad State Penitentiary. So to go through all that, survive all these gang wars, all that, what they do. Anybody who's been to Soledad when it was Soledad back in those late 80s, early 90s, right? I don't give a fuck how tough you are. And at this point, I thought I was invincible. Listen. When the judge said that I was a minor, they said, well, CYA won't accept you. I don't know what to do with you. If I give you a 10-year reduction from 17 years to 7 years, will you sign waiver papers so I can send you to state prison, to a men's facility? I hurried up and signed, but I didn't give a Richard, that's that picture I posted up on Instagram. So I felt like I was ready for it. You tell me something. Hold up.
Soledad case. This whack 100 tell me. And you see them gun towers, them old prison cars with a Philly club, they ain't even black clothes. Right? Every gangster thug says, what the did I just get myself into?
Before his trial and sentencing, Wack was locked up in the California Youth Authority, and according to people that were locked up with him, Wack was about that life.
And I remember Wack was like, I'm gonna get off first. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna see you with the smoke. All right. I already knew, man, he was back in my place, a big old brother, man. He was knocking fools out. That's a fact. I don't sit here and lie. He was dropping, right? Was he dropping 32 like we do now? As we hit that corner, that little Wack came through.
Oh, you get boom! According to Wack himself, when he first arrived, he was the only blood in the whole facility.
They sent me to state prison, so when I get to Delano, the reception, I'm ready with a mustache. I ain't got no goatee, nothing, right? But everybody asking everybody where they from. Right. So at that point in time, blood is outnumbered everywhere you go.
Right.
But I'm a YA baby, so I'm a firecracker, right?
Right.
So I can jump up, tell them where I'm from. I'm the only one in there from the red side, right?
Right.
So, at that point, they go to, we got us one.
But even though he was locked up at an early age, he still managed to have a love life in the prison system, with his longtime girlfriend, Kimberly Jones, holding him down and visiting him throughout his almost 5-year stay. She even managed to get pregnant and have a baby while he was locked up. Wack was released from prison at the age of 22, moving in with his girlfriend and their now 5-year-old son. However, after only a few months of freedom, Wack was sent back to prison for another 9 months after being caught up on a parole violation. He was released in 1999, and this time he would keep his freedom and level up in life, going from an ex-felon gangbanger to an ex-felon gangbanger who liked music. Once he was out, he linked up with another prominent Piru, Suge Knight, where he would begin working as a goon and climbing the ranks. It was through this connection that Wack 100 was able to make a come up in the industry. But in order to understand it fully, I have to do a quick breakdown of what exactly the industry looked like at the time and explain some connections that will help Wack rise to the current level he's at now. Like we established earlier, Wack is a member of the Pyrus and is coming straight out of Cali, the home of gangbanging. Now, Wack's come up really happened in the late 2000s, and around this time, there were a few artists from the area that were popping. This included rappers like Spider Loc in the game, and beefing was a surefire way to drum up some attention for an artist. For example, the game and Spider Loc had beef because Spider Loc is a Crip and the game is a Blood, but the game also had beef with his former label boss 50 Cent and so on, so you can see how beef would propel a career. In fact, it was the game that would find himself being one of Wack 100's first clients when Wack finally started to make his own moves in hip-hop. Wack had one other artist at the time named Stacey Adams, and Wack was trying to get a feature from the game for his artist. This all culminated in Suge Knight, Wack 100, the game, and Spider Loc ending up in the same parking lot where a fight broke out and Wack was able to get in some words with the game. This moment would eventually lead to Wack 100's career taking off when he found himself in the middle of a dispute between the game and his wing manager, Jimmy Henchman. Wack explained it in this clip.
Though I'm one of Suge's goons, him and Suge don't get along. Suge then pulled up. Suge, now he got Wack, Suge, and G-Unit. He don't know the boy Chris had called him, right? So he over there behind the car and I know what he gonna do. Long story short, me and Spider working out. Spider dispersing the crowd. They leave. I go have a conversation with Game, tell him you need to start moving right. He trying to give me his number. I said I didn't come over here for that because I'm trying to get Suge out of here before we start. I know he goes, right? So I leave. 6 months later, I start managing an artist named Stacey Adams. This is Crip dude named Stutter Block from Main Street. It's going to 24-hour fitness with Game. Game comes to Stutter Block till Wack come see me. I got an artist that makes sense to pull up on me. I walk in the Encore Studios. He's recording LAX. He's in the booth. He motioned for me to come in the booth. This is what you heard. He went in his pocket. He gave me everything he had. I said, I ain't here for that. I gave the money back. I told him I need a verse. He said, keep the money and I'm going to do the verse. And then from that day on, he told me about his situation he was in with Jimmy Henchman. Everybody's scared of Jimmy. He can't get away from him. Could I step in and start getting away from that? And then from there it was history.
This connection to the game allowed Wack to build his reputation, and once he had his shot in the industry, it seemed like Wack would deploy some of the same tactics he observed from Suge Knight during his time as a flunky, and he began to bully his way to the top, using controversy after controversy to make headlines. One of the first times Wack popped up in the headlines was in 2015 after he found himself settling the beef between another rapper named Stitches and the game by hitting Stitches with a one-hitter quitter. Stitches had waited outside of a club that the game was at with the expectation that he would fight him when he exited the building. Instead, he was met by Wack 100, delivering a punch that hit like a Kamehameha. This was highly embarrassing for Stitches, as he had been online bumping his gums for weeks on end in a Tekashi-like fashion, and Wack basically put an end to it all. But aside from the drama that Wack was stirring up and his heavy ties to the streets, he was able to overcome his odds and build out a legitimate business. In 2018, Wack took his business to a new level when he announced that him and another well-known blood, Birdman, were going to launch a new division of Birdman's world-famous Cash Money Records, aptly titled Cash Money West. Wack said that the mission for Cash Money West was going to be different than that of Cash Money Records, with the newly formed imprint focusing on providing opportunities to up-and-coming rappers as opposed to the massive artists that have been on the roster of the original Cash Money, like Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki Minaj. Wack said he was in talks with Birdman for months before this deal came to fruition. But when it did, it also came with a massive amount of support from Universal Music Group, and it also came with a $20 million startup budget. This was a massive win for Wack 100, and since the announcement of this venture, he hasn't seemed to leave the eye of the media due to the fact that he seems to produce some of the hottest takes on the internet, along with running what appears to be some kind of high-key extortion racket. An example of a take that got Wack 100 in the media is when he was asked about the events that led to Tupac's death, and this was his response.
It was better decision making. It was 30 power rules there. It was an issue with a Compton Crip. If Tupac would allow those power rules, you had everything from Suge, Punchy, everybody was there that could call that shot, right? So they're familiar with who this guy is, right? But you know what? They know they in a hotel. Suge's on 9 years joint suspension. That decision to kick that fight off, right? I stand behind this, was on the decision of those power rules in the homes.
Yeah, so he basically said that Tupac ended up in that situation because of dumb decisions. This led to a lot of backlash and even a rumor being started that Mike Tyson had knocked Wack 100 out after their podcast, but these turned out to be just rumors and not true. Even so, this wasn't the last time Wack 100 would be at the end of the internet's chopping block. He found himself in even more trouble after Nipsey Hussle passed away, when he basically went on No Jumper and disputed Nipsey's legacy as an artist and activist.
I was part of the Nipsey Hussle movement, getting his first multi-million-dollar deal. Me and Gang, Big U, Steve Lobel, Johnny Shipes, we did that. So what I'm saying is you got a man who died with 1 million followers and no radio hit and no platinum plaques. But because everybody started talking like it was a Popeye's chicken sandwich, everybody jumped on the bandwagon, and now he done went 10, 20 times platinum. The radio is spinning his song. Come on, bro. How long did they spin his song? All day, every hour. This rumor about him being independent, that's some bullshit. If you scroll down to the iTunes, it says Atlantic Records, right? So now he has a machine behind him. So where was all these fans? Nipsey's never been on a world tour. Why? He did not die an A-list artist. That's what, be real. Y'all talking about he was a legend. If he was a legend, why y'all didn't treat him like that while he was here? We talking as an artist and an entertainer. But listen, stop saying a legend as if y'all acknowledged and honored him as a legend when he was here. People call Game a legend all the time. Dre a legend. Cube a legend. Eminem a legend. Kendrick at this point a legend. Drake, right? They get like, you know why? Because their numbers and their popularity says that. Where was all you die-hard fans when Nipsey needed you to support his product? So he could have been that while he was here. We talking numbers right now. We're not talking about personal opinion. It's some red rags that opened the door for him to get in. He did that for Big U. He did that for Nipsey. I met Nipsey walking down Sunset 2 o'clock in the morning, passing out CDs. You understand what I'm saying? So everybody don't play the same role. You got some people that play multiple roles. What happened was what was supposed to happen.
He didn't stop with just a statement, though. He went on to try to completely tarnish Nipsey's legacy by claiming he had a tape of Nipsey doing some less than favorable bedroom activity with another man.
So, that's what it is. What you mean? It is. It's definitely. This shit ain't nothing new. It's just due to y'all. And for the record, it been whacked for 3 years making sure they came out. I was
Exactly.
I'd
So y'all
have
stop
let
talking
that come
about
out.
whacking the goop. Y'all stop talking about whacking the goop. Let that shit go. You just addressed it.
Bro, that told me, I just got tired of them talking about killing everybody and putting in all this work. I'm like, well, bro, where was the energy with the bro?
This sparked true outrage within Nipsey's fan base because Nipsey did a lot of things when he was alive to give back to the community and help better the people around him. And it seemed like instead of acknowledging that, Wack was only focused on what could hurt the empire that Nipsey had built. This situation got even worse when Hassan Campbell, a popular YouTube personality and commentator, called out Wack 100 for allegedly extorting Nipsey over the situation.
Let's go.
She got killed by a girl on board, bro. But then she goes to what? That man that's how to do it. Work it. That's a body. Everybody knows it was a body thing. I've been saving his career, bro. Then she got getting through his, bro. Also, that we got all the footage.
Wow.
Yeah. He paying his baby mama work.
Oh, which I thought I was playing? I mean, Wack, we could take the gloves off.
She got killed by a girl on board, bro. But then she don't do what? That girl that type of do that. Work it. That's a body thing. Everybody don't do this body thing. I've been saving his career, bro. Then she got getting through his, bro. Also,
Wow. We got all the footage. Is what Wack said. He was extorting them, allegedly. Why did they wait till Nipsey died for Big U to send Wack 100 to go get 30% of his stuff? Why you think Laura London is so quiet? She's dealing with foul. This is the that y'all laughing and y'all playing with in Clubhouse? Huh?
This did not go how Wack wanted it to, and after an outpouring of support from Nipsey's fan base, Wack found himself back on the No Jumper podcast, apologizing to Nipsey's brother and Nipsey's wife.
And I hear, and I've been moved right now just talking about this, right? Because I've been a little cocky about this because I felt like I didn't do nothing wrong. But you know, I really feel like nobody's bigger than the program. Nobody, and then sometimes we got to be sensitive, even to those that don't understand how you saying it. And I've been hearing a few things out here about a few people, and I hear and I've been dismissing it. But you know, I'm gonna be a man about it. And Black Sam, his brother, his baby mother Laura. Listen, I meant no disrespect to your brother, no disrespect to your husband at all. His mother and father, I was simply giving my personal opinion when it came to music. I know people take things in social media and they twist it. So you hearing it from me, I've been no disrespect. If you took anything I said as disrespect, my apologies wholeheartedly. Hopefully we can run into each other and have understanding and a head nod or whatever it may be. But you hearing that come from me, and you probably never find this nowhere on social media, me even giving anybody apology, because I tend to stand on what I believe in. But at the same time, you guys are going through something different with your emotions when it comes to his loss, to where you don't want to hear anything remotely derogatory to anything. So, you know, my apologies if I rubbed you the wrong way. I didn't mean it in that form or that matter. You know what I mean? I hope you can accept it. It's all love.
On top of that, Nipsey's brother Black Sam later forced the game to remove Nip from his album because of his affiliation with Wack 100. I Hostility was still in the air over this situation as Wack continued to make disparaging remarks about Nip, like this one, where he once again calls into question Nipsey's legacy.
A lot of people coming at Blueface right now.
For what?
For saying, for you going on and saying that Nipsey wasn't a legend.
He wasn't. What's a legend?
A legend.
Define a legend.
Someone that passed away.
No.
I was sorry.
No. Okay, listen. So let's keep it real. If Dr. Dre right now died,
okay,
we would say we lost a legend, right?
Yeah.
Wait. Based upon what? Numbers, right?
Yeah.
Body of work, right?
Yeah.
How many albums did Nipsey drop? One album, right? This is not no personal shit I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
This is just real shit. The man died with 1 million followers, no radio hits, no platinum hits, right? No world tours, right? After he died, he went platinum, sold a bunch of records, followers went up 9-10,000, right? 9-10 million, right?
Yeah.
Right, so first of all, we gotta define what a legend is, a legend ain't.
Absolutely.
Right? Was he on his way? I think at the time, yes, he would have been. But at the time of his demise, let's keep it real. The truth can never be defined as disrespect. If it is, that means you lying to yourself.
This eventually spilled over into a real-life fight with Nipsey's homie J-Rock at a Rolling Loud event in Los Angeles after J-Rock punched Wack in the face several times before running off, and Wack can be seen having to be held back while fuming with anger. He continued to make even more headlines, like when he appeared on DJ Academic's debut podcast episode that featured the most famous snitch in the world, 6ix9ine. During the podcast, Wack can be heard coming down hard on 6ix9ine, and it seemed like he was in total disagreement with him. But after the podcast, Wack took to social media and basically confirmed that he would be working with 6ix9ine as a business partner in order to make some money, even claiming that he had around $43 million worth of business lined up for 6ix9ine.
Been about 30, 45 days since I did the interview party on Clubhouse, right? So in the last 45 days, I probably just set up $43 million of business, and I ain't seen the kid. So I'm talking about big movies, European tours, renegotiated his album terms, all through attorneys and emails.
As usual, it sparked outrage, but I think by this point of the story, Wack had learned there is no such thing as bad publicity. So from here, he continued to deliver hot takes on the internet and start beef with other people. In August of 2021, Wack got into it with another rapper, 21 Savage, during a call on the social media app Clubhouse. 21 Savage called out Wack 100 for working publicly with the snitch, who publicly cooperated with the government and testified against members of his gang to put him behind bars. Here's what the call sounded like.
You there?
Yo, what's up?
What up? They told me you was upset at me, but talk to me.
I said you lame for agreeing with anything I say.
Okay, now listen. When you say lame, right? Because y'all lingo look different. What you mean by I'm lame? Like what you mean?
Like I don't agree with it. I don't agree with what you.
What is it that you don't agree with?
Like I just feel like a gangster and a rat can't agree on nothing. When the who called you a rat see you, ain't he supposed to push up on you?
Yeah, you supposed to get out. Well, I
don't agree with that.
But see, that let me know you pump faking it, nephew.
Nah, you don't pump fake.
You pump fake.
What? How do that equate to pump fake?
If you got the energy to say that see him, which I don't think you saw him in the club.
Yeah, but I never said, and I don't even talk like that.
Well, what you don't know, 6ix9ine had a video
I
or something.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
6ix9ine, what did you have that video?
I'm not finna do no fake game on Clubhouse. So don't start yelling and doing all that.
But that video you were showing us that you said it.
Yo, on the video, I'll post it up on my Instagram right now. I'll put it on my Instagram right now just for 10 minutes. I don't want to do... yo, 21, you want it? I'll DM it to you. Where I'm in the club, your manager, right or wrong, and put this on your kids, your manager didn't go up to you and say, yo, 6ix9ine in the club with us right now. Put that on your kids, your manager didn't tell you that.
I told you that last night. Why you act like you dropping a bombshell? I'm the one told you my manager told me that. That don't mean nothing.
So wait. For the record, 6ix9ine and 21 Savage, this lame whack talking, been on the phone talking for an access to 30 to 40 minutes. Yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Said what?
Okay, all right. I'm just putting it out there.
You said Wack was lame for interviewing me, but you was on the phone with me yesterday for 30 minutes.
I said he lame for agreeing with anything you say. Everybody in this room just heard what I said.
Well, don't come up in there with me and your right. I'm gonna put it on. I don't mind. I'm putting mine on the table. I ain't hiding nothing.
I ain't sitting down with no rat. Period.
Yo, 21.
I ain't sit down and have no kumbaya with you.
I'm not about to.
I'm not whack.
21.
I don't know.
Wait. Look, hey, wait. 21. Respectfully, nephew, I know you. We always been solid. And I'm gonna keep it real.
Nah, you just said a whole bunch of it.
Hey, we are not the same. Look, 21.
I don't know. I guess
21. Listen to me, nephew.
Nah, friends now.
Listen to me.
Listen
to me, bro.
But I
met you before. You've been real humble. Me and you both know. If you were standing in front of me right now, wouldn't have that energy.
Stop doing that. That's on my head. All right, check this out.
I will beat your little I will beat your little
Yo, 21.
Hold on, 6ix9ine. 21.
One mic.
And it's cool that you don't agree with what I'm saying, but I'm not no rapper. Yeah, you up? Yeah, right. I'll come to Atlanta. You can come to LA. We can get out wherever you want to get out. I will beat you coming out here or I'm coming out there? Because we can get out. What we doing? I will sock you the out. Out your league. You are out your league. You ain't finna come in here as you just a rapper. That's all you is. You ain't got the right regular respect with me. You's a fake blood too. I'm from California. Because you called me out my name, I let it go. But when you want to get out, I know this. I was roaming the
You don't got to do all that. I'm scared already, bro. I'm scared. You don't got to do all that.
Now I tell you what.
I'm already scared, bro.
I'm not going to even ball my fists up. I'm going to slap you up.
He gone.
All you little rappers know this. I am not a rapper. Don't come playing with me. You too light now. If you ain't skilled enough, been around long enough, you might want to be a little hesitant about that mouth. Because I'm going to violate you. Straight up.
Yeah. Wack has literally threatened everybody he's ever worked or come in contact with. He seems like a pleasant guy. But Wack wasn't all talk. Like we seen him knock out Stitches and try to fight J-Rock, he had the same energy with other people in real life too. This can be seen in another video where Wack 100 is squaring up with a random white dude at Primo Burgers in Lancaster, California after the man allegedly referred to Wack 100 with a racial slur.
Oh, dropping.
Oh, get out! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Hey, get his place. Get his place.
Get on that! You touch me!
Joe. Anyway, a few days after the 21 Savage Clubhouse call, Wack found himself in deep with another rapper named Jim Jones. Jim Jones is from New York and is also a Blood, but he found himself being the center of his own snitching allegations that Wack 100 brought to attention during a separate Clubhouse call. Fed up with the narrative, Jim Jones hopped on the app with a Blood gang member named Mel Matrix, who was one of the guys that 6ix9ine snitched on and got locked up, with this being said during the call about Wack 100.
I want people to know who you directly talking to.
Wack 100, I'm supposed to be irreparable.
Okay. This is Talia Benavides from Urban Garden. Coño, it's good enough. Take our stuff so we don't get shot. Let's change these clothes.
Wait. Aren't you
Sylvia Bell, Garden City? Urban Garden. Can we move this along? Maria's waiting. Welcome, my beautiful foreign friends. Gracias por traerme so far.
The Castillo administration pride and joy. Let us begin.
The architecture. Impressive.
Lot of money not coming to the rest of the yard. Today, I am honored and excited to share with you the miracle of Viviro, a revolutionary cancer treatment. 13 years ago, the brilliant biochemist Dr.